Hi, my name's Simon Wood from Megger, and today we're going to run through a full product demonstration on the MFT1700 Series multifunction testers. We now have three models in the range. We have our entry-level 1710, our mid-range unit, the 1720, and the top of the range 1730. All three of these products are now Category 4 safety rated. We have also got a bulletproof input protection system, so even mid-test, if you apply voltages, it will not damage the unit. We have a large dual function display, so when carrying out loop impedance testing, your fault currents can be displayed at the same time. We have left and right-handed operation on all the models, and frequency measurement has also been added to our voltage range. One final thing, they are now all IP54 rated as well. First off, we'll look at the MFT1710, which is our entry-level model. This unit incorporates all the items that you'd require on a 17th edition test kit. So we have a basic insulation continuity tester with a 250 and a 500 volt range. We have our 2-wire no-trip loop impedance test, but also has a high current test. We've then got an RCD tester, which incorporates the facility of a ramp test. Moving on to the MFT1720, we now have phase rotation meter built into the unit, as well as the facility of current measurement by using external CT. The insulation tester has had a 1000 volt range added. We have got the auto RCD test facility, as well as the function of variable RCDs. The loop impedance test is still a 2-wire no-trip with the high current facility, but you'll see we've also got some additional features in there with Z max and the calculated R1, R2 values. And finally, we'll look at the MFT1730, our top of the range model. This multifunction tester is now rechargeable. We've also got the facility of carrying out a 3-wire earth spike or ground resistance test. We have also got the facility to store results internally or Bluetooth them automatically, as we used to with our MFT1700 series. The unit is now full true RMS measurement for voltage and current, and as you'll see, we've also added a 100 volt insulation test range. What I'll do now is run through a full product demonstration using the MFT1730. First up, we'll look at the voltage and frequency measurement. So we turn the unit on, and then on the top we select our positive and negative inputs. And you'll see with no voltage indication, so if I play, the voltage is indicated on the main display with frequency shown above. If we were carrying out phase rotation, we would be using 3 leads and they would be attached to the 3 phases accordingly. Next up, we'll do continuity measurement. So we select our continuity range, and the first thing we're going to do is null our lead set out. So putting the clips together, once we've got a stable reading, press the test button, and you'll see that there's an indication to show that the lead null is now in place. Now if you just wanted to bell out a cable, we can turn the buzzer on and off just by pressing the button. So what we'll do now is we'll apply that to a known value. We'll turn off the buzzer, and we've got a reading on here of 0.48 of an ohm. Okay, let's look at insulation testing. So with this model we've got 100, 250, 500 and 1 kV range. So we're just going to dial up 500 volt insulation test, press the test button, and we'll take our reading. And as you can see, we've got 8.94 megohms. Now incidentally, on the top of the display you'll see that we're also indicating our applied voltage at 549 volts. And at this time we'll take the opportunity to show you the input protection. So if we'd mistakenly attached to a mains supply, you can see we have the voltage indication as well as the frequency. And this protection also applies if you're midway through a test. So if you've got your reading on the display, we've got our output 549 volts, and then we go across the voltage. You see we get an audible and a visual indication, and again it just comes back and shows us the mains voltage and the frequency. Moving on, we'll now look at our 2-wire no-trip loop testing. So we select the phase earth, and on the left-hand range knob we're making sure that we're on a straightforward Z measurement. So just showing you the connections, we're going to apply the green and red lead, and then when the mains voltage is turned on, you'll see now that the measurement is being taken. This unit will also operate on 110 volt as well as 3-phase, so you can actually do your prospective short circuit current between phases. And on here we've got a reading of 0.77 ohm, and on the upper scale on the display it's indicating our prospective fault current. We'll now go through the 2-wire high current loop impedance test. So selecting the phase neutral on the left hand dial, what we'll also do is we'll look at the Z max feature. So again, this is a 2-wire test. Now we're connecting between live and neutral, and then when we apply the mains voltage, it's indicated on the screen, the test starts automatically, and you'll see that we've got a reading here of 1.98 ohms, and on the top of the display we've got a repeat of that value because it's the only reading we've taken. So if we then take a second loop reading, which has come up at 0.99, you'll see that the highest value, which was our previous reading, is retained on the display. The final feature we'll look at on our loop impedance testing is our R1, R2. So if we just turn the unit over, again it's a 2-wire no trip measurement, so we're going between phase and earth. Selecting phase earth, the first thing we want to do is take a Z reference. Now this is in actual fact our ZE measurement. So what this will give us is the value at the incomer on the distribution board. We will then save that value as our reference so that we can then carry out the calculation against our standard ZS. So as you can see here, we've got a reading on there of 0.68. So if I now take that off the mains, selecting R1, R2, and when we carry out the test, this is a simulation of now taking the ZS measurement, so we've gone to the far end of our circuit, and because we've taken our Z reference, or ZE, the unit will do the calculation for us. Now you do need to be aware that this isn't a true R1, R2 measurement, it is just an indication, because obviously there will be ancillary earth paths. But as you can see, our Z reference was down at 0.68, and our R1, R2 value is down as 1.01. So it's done the calculation, and it's shown as R1, R2 in the bottom corner. When it comes to RCD testing, all 3 units will test standard type A, AC and S, or time delayed RCDs, and the 1730 will also test the new B type, or pure DC breakers, which is used in some solar PV applications. As you can see, we can manually select the breaker value, but with the 1720 and the 1730, if you have a programmable RCD, you can actually program in the value of the breaker you're going to test. We have the facility to test manually, so we can do times half, times 1 and times 5, and switching between 0 and 180. It's just on the test button at the front. We also have a ramp test facility which will prove at exactly what point the RCD is operating, very useful in nuisance tripping applications. And the final thing is the auto RCD. This is a facility that's only available on the 1720 and the 1730 models, and that's what we're going to run through today. For this demonstration, we've plugged the unit into a 30 milliamp RCD, we've selected 30 milliamps on the range knob, and we've selected auto test. And the auto test sequence will run through all of the tests required by the regulations, which is half I, so that's half the rated value of the breaker, where we shouldn't see it trip, times 1 at both 0 and 180 degrees, and times 5 at 0 and 180. So we start the test, and the unit will very quickly display the times half, where we shouldn't see the trip, straight in, times 1 at 0, reset the RCD, and we have times 1 at 180, and the same for times 5. Once we reset the RCD for the final time, you get an indication on the screen that the test has ended, and now pressing our button here we can cycle back through and look at the results. So we have our half the rated value where we shouldn't see the trip, and you can see it's timed out greater than 2 seconds. We then go into times 1 at 0, times 1 at 180, times 5 at 0, and times 5 at 180. The 1720 and 1730 models also have the facility of current measurement. So using the optional MegaI Clamp, this unit gives us a range of 0.5 milliamps to 200 amps, and with a resolution down to 0.1 of a milliamp will allow us to use it for earth leakage measurements. The last test we're going to look at is our earth electrode resistance test, and this is a 3-wire test which is available on the 1730 model only. So we select our earth electrode and we press the test button to initiate. Now we've got here a simulated 5¼ ohm earth electrode. The unit will also monitor to make sure that our current and potential spikes are not too high a resistance, and as you can see we've got a resistance displayed of 5.27 ohms. That concludes our product demonstration today. All 3 units are designed and built at our factory down here in Dover. All 3 of them come with a lifetime technical support, and all of them have a standard 3-year warranty. If you require any further information, you can contact our sales office on 01304 502 101 or the technical support group on 01304 502 102. You can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter.